All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I've got Michael Pina from The Ringer coming up in just a second. We talk about Game 1 of the NBA Finals, where the Nuggets stayed in control of the Heat for the entire game. We also talk about Tyler Herro's possible return, and we discuss at length Adam Silver's seemingly ominous comments about the looming Ja Morant punishment. Before we get to all that, there is another bit of NBA news that I thought was pretty notable and I wanted to talk about, and that is the Detroit Pistons hiring their next head coach. The Pistons hired Monty Williams, and they gave him the most lucrative coaching deal in NBA history, a 6-year deal that apparently is fully guaranteed for maybe $72 million, maybe $78 million. I'm seeing different numbers between Shams and Woj. Also, there's some team options on the deal that could make it worth up to $100 million and go over 8 seasons. That is kind of a shocking number. That is, as we all joke, basically the full MLE to a coach. He's set to make $12 million next season. There are many NBA coaches making under $3 million a year. Monty Williams will make more money next season than Taylor Jenkins has made in all 4 of his seasons as the Grizzlies head coach. I mean, combined. Taylor Jenkins, 4 years combined, less than what Monty Williams is going to make next year. For the Pistons, on paper, seems like a great fit. Monty Williams has been credited with creating great culture, and he helped transform the Suns from a perennial lottery team into the quite good team that they are right now. Yes, Devin Booker had something to say about that, but Monty Williams oversaw the Suns' transformation, and the Pistons are a team that is struggling and needs someone to bring them to respectability, and Monty Williams seems like the perfect guy to do it. So good job for the Pistons paying to bring in the guy they thought was the best fit for their situation. Will they immediately regret the big contract, like the Ben Gordon or Charlie Villanueva contracts? Who knows? Remains to be seen. Anyways, if you want to support our show and get involved in our Slack channel where you can talk with me and other listeners around the clock, you can do that for $3 a month at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It's the most direct and best way to help out our program. Other ways you can help that are free, you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel and write us a 5-star review on iTunes. Also, download the brand new official Grind City Media mobile app. Explore new ways to access your favorite Grind City Media content, from your favorite shows and series to news and entertainment. Stay connected with exclusive content at your fingertips with the new Grind City Media mobile app, available in both the Apple and Google Play stores. All right, now let's talk with Michael Pina. I'm joined right now by Michael Pina. Michael, how's it going?
Good, Keith. How are you, man?
I'm doing quite well. You're in Denver enjoying the NBA Finals in person. Is the game better without the YouTube ads overlaid across the players, technology which still does not work for the TV audience?
I would have to say yes, although where they sit us in the arena, pretty high up, didn't have a great angle of things. I had to rewatch the game on my laptop this morning. But yeah, the YouTube stuff, obviously a huge bummer for everyone involved.
Right. I understood. All right. I felt like they rolled that out during the bubble, and it was a pandemic, and everyone's like, wow, they're losing a lot of revenue. And it's like, okay, throw down a digital ad over the action, a digital ad which can't discern what's player's skin and the court, and it goes in and out. But now they're like, oh, we got away with it back then. What if we don't improve the technology whatsoever and we increase the size of the ads? Maybe no one will say anything.
But here you are talking about it.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not shout out YouTube? I hope that little upstart company can hang on and scrape together enough ad dollars to continue operating. I would pay extra, Michael, to not have the overlaid ads. Is that like, can we pass a hat for YouTube? Can we pass a hat for the league and be like, Listen, I pay for if you pay for a league pass right now and you're not paying for the commercial free variety, what are you doing? Like if you watch the NBA for 6 months and it's what's like $50 more, might have been less this year. Like, what are you doing? I also would now, like when I go back and watch this, if I go back, let's say like next game, Jokic has like a 60-20-20 game. You're telling me when I watch this, the tapes of this on NBA TV in 20 years, there's going to be this horrible overlay that like can't tell the difference between Jokic's skin and the basketball court?
I got to be honest, a 60-20-20 game feels on the table at some point in the series.
What did everything that happens in the NBA, basically, I forget it immediately. Somebody had a 60-20 game this year, right? Did Luka do 60-20 or something? Am I making this totally up? Maybe there was a 50-20. What was the wildest stat that dropped this season outside of a 70-pointer?
That's a good question. I think Luka had something close to that. So it was like in triple-double fashion.
Yeah.
Jokic had 53 and 10 or whatever it was against the Suns in that loss. But yeah, statistical performances have been just like obviously insane in this entire season.
Luka Doncic had 60 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Decent.
So again, it sounds fictional. I can't remember these things when they actually happen. So yeah, I don't know if that game had the ad overlays. Anyways, Michael, before we get more into game one, which the Nuggets took care of their business, we have to take care of business here, and that's talk about breakfast. Have you had a breakfast? Did you have a on the road breakfast morning after finals game one special thing, or is we talking hotel lobby?
Hotel lobby, yogurt parfait, some blackberries, some blueberries, some strawberries, delicious granola. That's been I feel like every time I come on the show, that's my breakfast. It's still my breakfast. It's undefeated for me.
I don't know if you've influenced me, but anytime I'm in a hotel, I do the hotel parfait. I get the thing for it seems right. It's fun. My only issue is it's almost always a little bit messy when you have the lid over the yogurt. Then you have to take it off, and there's normally yogurt on the bottom of that lid, and there's nowhere to put it because now you have to dump in the granola and the fruit and things. But there's like this one messy lid part. It's that part I haven't aced yet, how to eat it like a true professional, like on the go without making a gigantic mess.
So this morning I sat at a fancy restaurant in the hotel, and it was served to me in a bowl with a spoon. So I didn't have to mess around.
Oh, you didn't get the to-go from like the little kiosk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fancy. I'll be real. Never had a sit-down parfait. Never had a waiter bring me. That's incredible. I feel like you brought us something special. All right. So in game one, maybe it's a feel-out game for the Heat. What do you think? Who should feel maybe like they have the best handle on the series? Is it just the Nuggets because you win game one, 70% of the time you win the finals? The Heat have a lot of things they can circle and be like, hey, we were bad. But maybe there's an optimism. Also, I'll throw out the every time the Heat have won the finals, they've lost game one. So a little bit of good history for Miami. So I guess what's your takeaway for like which team? That's the dumbest question ever. Which team feels better? What's your takeaway from game one?
Well, I think if you're Miami, I tweeted this after the game. I can't tell if they should feel pretty good or terrible about this game. Everyone on their team except Haywood Highsmith did not attempt a single free throw, which is just like one of the most insane stats you'll ever see. They shot 13 for 39 behind the three-point line. Max Strus missed all 9 of his attempts. Caleb Martin was 1 for 7, only played 25 minutes after turning into Steph Curry / Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Jimmy Butler was really ineffective on offense. I thought he made a few really nice reads when, he drove, kicked. They got some good stuff out of that. Bam Adebayo is the trigger man in the DHOs. They were getting really good looks from behind the arc and in the paint, attacking Jokic. But you just saw like the margin for error for me with Miami in that game where they just have to really knock everything out of the park to have a chance against the Nuggets. Because the Nuggets, like, they didn't play particularly well on either end, I thought. Yeah. And were in control basically the entire game. up 19 or 17 at halftime. Could have pushed the lead into blowout territory in the third quarter, but Miami just is one of those. I mean, they just don't beat themselves in a lot of ways and just are so resilient. Kept clawing back, started to hit some threes. But for me, I'm watching the game, and Nikola Jokic, I believe, didn't make his first basket until there were like 4 minutes left in the second quarter or something like
Yeah.
that. And this man is just, they have no answers for him whatsoever. And, Miami did a really good job limiting him on the offensive glass. They boxed him out. That was clearly a part of their scouting report. I think he had 0 offensive rebounds. They did a great job getting back in transition because Jokic obliterated the Los Angeles Lakers on those grab and goes. And they really did a great job there. But when you get back in transition against a team with Jokic, you have to match up like almost immediately with like the proper personnel. And you can't match up with Duncan Robinson on him or Max Strus on him. And they did that one too many times. And even when someone like when Gabe Vincent matches up with Aaron Gordon and you have Bam on Jokic, like Jokic is going to find Aaron Gordon immediately. So you have to be like perfect, and you can't be perfect in basketball. It's just like not possible. So I thought that like the Nuggets didn't really have to make any adjustments at all throughout the game. They were just kind of in their flow offense. They fronted Jokic to start. Murray just drove that action, finished at the rim a couple times. And I feel like if push were to come to shove, Jokic could have like, I'm not going to say like he could have a 60-20-20.
Yeah.
But he could have, I don't even know how many points he could score against this Miami Heat defense if he actually had to take shots and be aggressive offensively. But he could easily have a 50 ball, 60 ball. He just wasn't pressed. He didn't feel flustered, I felt like, at any point in this game, even against their zone early in the fourth quarter when they were able to string together some stops. I thought Denver got some pretty good looks that they just didn't knock down. And you just look at the personnel, like Cody Zeller can't guard him one-on-one.
No.
Bam can't guard him one-on-one. You double, he'll find the open man every single time. You switch the Murray Jokic pick and roll as they did with Haywood Highsmith, and it's just death. Like there's no solution for this team. So I don't know what Miami does, even if they can make 60% of their wide open threes as they did in the conference finals against the Celtics. I feel like Denver's offense will always have a solution, and Miami might get one or two, but there's just no stopping Jokic. I just think he's just amazing.
Well, Miami, I think technically maybe did the best of anybody so far this playoffs as far as limiting the Nuggets offense. It was not a dominant offensive performance by Denver. In the second half, their offensive rating was pretty terrible. It's funny thinking about like the run Miami went on at the start of the fourth quarter. Like I think the Nuggets were up 24 and they were like, they normally bench Jokic here. They're going to leave him in to try to put it away. But then the Heat went on, I think it was an 11-0 run.
Yeah.
The shots that the Nuggets missed in that, like Jokic missed a 4-footer that was like wide open. And then he missed like a 7-footer. And I'm like, wow, Jokic isn't making his easy shots. He still finished 8 for 12. I mean, like, and it felt like, man, he left these easy ones on the table. It's weird too when you think about all the bad shooting of the Heat, and then you look and you're like, well, they actually shot better from three than the Nuggets did. And I don't know what to take away from that. If that's just like, it's just bad news for Miami. I do have to recognize Max Strus, first player in finals history to attempt at least 10 field goal attempts and not score. Congratulations. I don't know how Celtics and Knicks and Bucks fans feel watching Strus go scoreless and Caleb Martin with the 1 for 7, Duncan Robinson with the 1 for 6. Not the best. What are we hearing about? I feel like there's some talk. We can come back to this game a little bit, but like there's some talk about maybe Tyler Hero. Could he be the break glass in case of emergency? I mean, if the Heat win game 1, you're not as excited about dusting him off, but when these guys go 3 for 22, that's Strus. Wait, 3 for 23, I believe, for Strus, Caleb Martin, and Duncan Robinson. Maybe start thinking, let's see what Tyler Hero has for us.
Yeah, I think that Spoelstra after the game was very confident in his shooters, as he should be. He called them ignitable. They see one or two go in early and it's an avalanche. I think Gabe Vincent was 5 for 10, hit a lot of tough shots. Kyle Lowry knocked down a few late, some pull-ups. Like, they have shooters. I think the guys that missed, it was a little bit of an aberration, a little bit of a reversion back to the mean for them after it seemed like they could not miss in rounds 1 and round 3. Tyler Hero, I kind of feel like they're here because Tyler Hero broke his hand.
I subscribe to that theory as well. Yeah.
So I don't know if he's the answer there. I think that they've gotten really good offense out of Gabe. Caleb Martin will almost definitely play better, you would assume, going forward. And like, they'll get to the free throw line. I think Jimmy will be a lot more aggressive. He hit his first 2 jump shots within the first 2 minutes of the game and then didn't hit another jumper the rest of the game. I don't think that's going to happen again. So I think you just kind of ride the course with what you have, because the downside of Hero defensively is a steep downside.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have a situation where Aaron Gordon is able to isolate on Hero or Jamal Murray is able to hunt Hero. And it really hurts you with the lineups you can play, where all of a sudden, okay, we have Hero and Gabe Vincent and Max Strus on the court, or Hero, Gabe, and Duncan. And it just kind of screws things up a little bit for them. So I don't know. It would be really tough to just throw him into this series. Like, he can ignite and he can hit shots and he can do things off the bounce in the in-between game that some of those other guys can't. But I don't know. I think you should ride who you have for the majority of your minutes. And honestly, I would think that they're going to play Haywood Highsmith a lot more going forward too, just because of the defensive intangibles that he brings to the table.
Yeah, he provided a huge spark off the bench with 18 points. Also, the only 2 free throw attempts, as you said. So that's an NBA playoffs record for the fewest free throw attempts for a team in a playoff game, with just 2. Did it feel like to you, were the Heat settling? Like, this is the thing when I was watching the game, maybe I wasn't dialed into it. I tuned out Mike Breen and Van Gundy and Mark Jackson as far as what they were commentating on. I didn't realize this was going on until the game was over. And I'm like, oh, they only shot 2 free throws. I didn't feel like it was like missed calls. What was it, just to your eye, were the Heat just settling for shots, or just a weird aberration?
Yeah, I think I also, I glance at the box score during games or whatever. But for me, when I was watching it, it was more so, okay, clearly they're liking these Bam Adebayo jumpers out of the short roll, Bam bringing the ball up off makes and misses and just going right at Jokic on no pass possessions. They really seem to like that. And Bam finished with 26 points, I think?
26 points.
But it's like, I was also talking to the people on press row who were sitting around me. We were talking about it, and I was like, Denver will live with all of this. These are paint jump shots. He took 25 shots to score 26 points. He wasn't attacking the basket, really. And there was one really, pivotal play where it was an empty corner pick and roll with Gabe and Bam. Bam caught it. It was after, I think it was the start of the second half. Bam caught it on the roll, and Jamal Murray, low man, came over and contested at the rim, and Bam missed at the rim. And I don't know if that was maybe a foul. Like, it was a huge play.
That could have been the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamal took it the other way, got an and one, pushed it up to 13. And I thought that was like a really important swing play in the game. So maybe, like, if you're a Heat fan, you're like, okay, that went against us. But other than that, I didn't really see too much, honestly. And like, a lot of Denver's offense is inside in the paint, and they were more aggressive. I would expect to see a lot more aggression from Miami going forward, particularly Jimmy. I think Jimmy will be throwing his body around in game 2. Absolutely.
I mean, it's almost one of those where you kind of wonder if you want to create or make up maybe an excuse. Like, if this is Jimmy Butler coming off of a 7-game series, being like, all right, let's survive this one. We have 2 days off before game 2, and then we'll come out, just, again, get that split in Denver, take it from there. Of course, this Heat team has been very adaptable all playoffs long. Do you think they might adapt? Like, is there any other, like, not counting Tyler Hero, like, would they turn back to Kevin Love? Is there anything else on this roster where they're like, maybe we have a better chance if we match up? I mean, I know their defense was pretty good in this game, and maybe they just circle, we got to get to the foul line, we got to knock down some threes, we'll be okay. But like, is there any other adjustment personnel wise you think Spoelstra can make?
I I was a little surprised that Love was a DNP in game one, to be honest with you. I think that his size is really important in this series, and they'll go right at him in the pick and roll like the Celtics did, like every single play. But you can hide that a little bit in your zone with your zone if you're Miami. And yeah, I just think they need like size and girth and strength in the paint. And I don't think Kevin Love is a Nikola Jokic stopper by any means, but I guess I was just a little taken aback by his DNP, and I don't know. It's just asking so much of Bam.
Yeah.
I think physically, like you saw his energy in person, watching him like front and deny constantly Jokic in the post. Like doing that for an entire series is really tough, especially if you're going to be asked to be the trigger man on offense too. And he had that one dunk on a keeper, and he's going to have to make plays like that throughout the series, and it's just going to take its toll on him. So I think you need bodies, you need size, you got to spell these guys, the starters, quite a bit going forward. And I would expect Love to play, like dust him off, see what happens, because he was knocking down shots in the conference finals, and
Yeah.
they obviously needed that in game one.
Yeah. I think maybe a pessimism I have for the Heat, even though they have proven me wrong in each round of the playoffs so far, it's that one of their key tools they use is this zone, and like it totally flummoxes other teams, and they've done it for years. I specifically remember our regular season game like a few years ago against the Grizzlies, and the Heat went on like a 19-0 run running a zone. This was like, I want to say this was Ja Morant's first year, and it turned like a 10-point lead to a 9-point deficit. And then there's like a third quarter thing. And then Spoelstra was like, all right, we worked on that a little bit. We don't need it for a regular season game against the Grizzlies. We don't care. Like, and then they went back to man, and the Grizzlies won the game. And it's like, they don't care about regular season games. They save up these things because they know they're going to use in the playoffs. And like, they use it to great effect in their first 3 playoff rounds. And they shut down the Celtics. The Celtics seemed embarrassingly confused. I'm sorry, Michael. In game 7, like what, they're going to play more zone? Al Horford's like, wait, they want me to shoot a free throw line jumper? I wasn't ready for this. But the Nuggets have Jokic, who's like the greatest zone buster ever. Like, he knows to get it. And even outside of Jokic, like Jeff Green knows to get in the middle of a 2-3 zone and what to do. And like Bruce Brown knows how to cut off ball. And like, they're like, please play zone against us. Honestly, I can imagine Jokic being like, I get to run less because Bam's not pushing on me. Like I don't see how the Heat's special, like secret weapon, a zone, is going to be able to slow down the Nuggets at all.
I mean, first of all, like great job by you pointing out Jeff Green, because I thought it was really interesting how this whole run, for the most part, the Nuggets have had Aaron Gordon be the backup 5 at the start of second quarters, and instead they went to Jeff Green at the start of the second at the 5, and it was because, I think, to combat the zone. And Jeff Green did a really good job. He backed, I forget who it was, maybe it was Gabe Vincent, backed him down from like the 3-point line, and missed a little turnaround, but then stuck with it, hit one over Bam a couple possessions later. And yeah, he was just a good decision maker at the nail, and a little bit more composed maybe. And they knocked down their threes early. And when you knock down threes, like, it really doesn't matter what your zone offense looks like. That's how you beat it.
Right.
So I thought they did a really good job of that early. And then, they weren't knocking down those threes in the fourth quarter, and Jokic missed a couple paint turnarounds, as you said, that almost always fall. So I don't think the zone is a solution. Spo likes to talk about how it's not about the scheme, it's about how they execute with it and how aggressive they are with it. And so your zone can be, just playing a zone and then giving up a Michael Porter Jr. putback dunk doesn't really do you any good. You know what I mean? So maybe they execute a little bit better inside that scheme and are a little bit more aggressive and are able to maybe force turnovers, which they were not able to do at all in game one, and is really central to their identity. So I don't know. I don't know, because like man to man is not. It's not good against Jokic. It just isn't.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to guard that pick and roll, and it's so difficult to guard him running off screens and posting up or directing traffic from the elbows. Like he's just amazing, and so I don't know if there is a solution beyond shoot 50% from behind the 3-point line. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the Heat, I haven't looked at like a shot quality analysis, but they had the shot quality from the 3-point line. I mean, you had a bunch of wide open 3-pointers where they missed them.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with a couple of not finals specific stories. At least they're sort of around the finals. One is referee Eric Lewis, who's being investigated for a Twitter burner account, which might have been run by his brother. He was not one of the officials chosen to referee in the finals, despite refereeing in the finals, I believe the final 4 seasons. What are your thoughts on this kind of strange story? And like, did this guy lose out on the finals because his brother was defending his honor on Twitter?
I have no idea. I've been faintly following this because I don't care that much, but I just think it's funny how referee, like I get why, but like NBA referees just like aren't allowed to be human beings. You know what I mean? Like,
correct.
It's like, I know having a burner is super bizarre, and I don't know why he would do it or why his brother would do it, but I feel like I don't know how it impacts necessarily. I don't know the full details of the investigation or anything. I know it's still ongoing, as Adam Silver said at his presser, but like, how does that impact his ability to delineate a block from a charge in real time? Like, isn't he one of the best officials? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I just don't get why. Maybe this has to do with like gambling and whatever. I don't know. I truly don't know. If foul play is involved with him, they're just trying. It's an optics thing. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. But it is a weird look for the league, and I think it was like the second question asked at Adam Silver's press conference by Malika Andrews on it. So it is a story for sure.
Mark Stein reported that NBA spokesman Mike Bass said that Eric Lewis, they're still reviewing the matter and he will not be working the finals. So I guess it's something. I mean, we pointed out on the show earlier this week, like all the Twitter account did that we saw was like make very cogent and reasoned arguments for why calls were correct. Like it wasn't like he wasn't being rude. It wasn't divulging state secrets. It was just being like, hey, angry sports fan, this is actually the rule. And it was correctly applied in this situation. So it's a very strange thing. And speaking of league investigations, Adam Silver made what I consider to be ominous comments about Ja Morant, but he didn't actually say anything. I'm assuming you were at the presser. What was the tone? What did you take away from Adam Silver saying, we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. This is about Ja Morant and the latest social media video involving a firearm. Silver said, we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we've made the decision that it would be unfair to these players and these teams to announce that decision in the middle of the series. So everyone took that as like, oh no. I mean, we already knew he was getting suspended, but did it sound ominous in person?
It did. It sounded very ominous. There were 2 follow-up questions about it. I think that, first of all, the most telling sentence was, we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. Not what you want to hear if you're the Memphis Grizzlies or Ja Morant at all. But I think, like,
but he doesn't say, is that good information? Is the information bad?
Information. I don't think it's good.
We've uncovered some further context, just information. I don't know. Like, and mine, not to cut you off, but like the thought for that is like, is this additional information about the newest thing, or did you dig further into older things? So that's the question. But I'm sorry. Please continue.
No. I mean, it's a really good point by you. I just think that you add that statement to, hey, if we were to announce what we're going to announce now, it
Right.
would overwhelm the NBA finals. Like, okay, that's not Ja Morant suspended for 10 games. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not what that is.
I mean, that's an
So
interpretation.
it isn't, yeah.
Yeah, I'm agnostic on what's going to happen and I don't understand. I'm like, all right, but I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out if we're connecting dots that Adam Silver didn't mean to connect. I mean, Adam Silver at the draft lottery, he was talking about, it was like if somebody had died when he was like he was very grave, being like,
Yeah.
I thought we got through to him, but we did not get through to him. And then Rachel Nichols' report, where her quote that she got from him was asking whether there should have been a stronger initial suspension for Ja. And Silver said, it seemed appropriate at the time, although maybe by definition, it appears he's done it again. We've all seen the video. You could say maybe not. So does he have to now retroactively apply like further punishment, being like, we got it wrong the first time?
I think my personal read on it, the second the second video came out,
Yeah.
was that Ja Morant made a lot of important people look foolish,
Yes.
and important people in high, powerful positions do not like being made to look foolish in public.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the most telling thing for me and the most important factor, honestly. Like, he made his organization look stupid. His owner looked stupid. His coach looked stupid. A lot of his teammates look stupid. Adam Silver looks stupid. Joe Dumars looks stupid. The head of the PA looks stupid. Like,
I want you to know, I'm just taking that 10-second clip where, without context, where you just said all those people look stupid, and just using that for social media, just so you know. I think that's gonna be a great soundbite right there.
well, he did, and like, that's really difficult to just wash over,
Yeah.
because if you do nothing and he commits another violation, or a more serious
Yep.
consequence happens, then you're in a really difficult spot if you're the league and you're his team and you're his representation and you're in his camp and all of that. So I think the punishment will be harsh,
Yeah.
but fair, honestly. Like,
What is harsh to you? What is harsh but fair to Michael Pina?
I don't know. Like, I don't want to be on the record saying a
Yeah, I mean,
specific.
I've always thought it was gonna be like 20 games, but now everyone's like, oh, it's half a season. But my thing with the half a season thing is like, how is the Players Association gonna handle? I know with apparently in the CBA, if it involves a gun, there's just this wide leeway for the commissioner to do whatever he wants, sorta. But like, I know what the stories are going to be, and I know how they're going to get pushed. If it comes out as half a season, it's going to be everyone bringing up the nonstop domestic violence accusations and guilty pleas, and then there's going to be the comparisons, and then the league's going to say, "Oh, it's apples and oranges. This is in the CBA. This is in the CBA. We can do what we want." So, and also looking at precedent throughout NBA history of like half a season for, I don't know, no crime yet. So it's gonna be weird, but everyone seems to be kind of girding themselves for if it is like 40 games as opposed to just 20.
I would lean more towards 40,
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
in what I'm expecting to see.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's hugely disappointing for the NBA, because Ja Morant was positioned to be the face of the NBA, like,
Yeah.
without exaggeration.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he is so popular with their younger audience, a critical viewership. He is like the guy. So I think that kind of doubles down on just how you can't afford for him to make another mistake that is actually of consequence, where he does break a law
Right.
because of what it would do to your league and your reputation and your fan base. And you could turn off a lot of people if he's propped up, to the degree that they want to prop him up. So I think all that matters, and all of it is factored in, and they have to make a statement here, I think. Not necessarily because of Ja's actions, but because of Ja's actions after he pledged not to do anything wrong again. And he went away to the
Right.
rehab clinic or whatever it was in
Yeah.
Florida. And
Yeah.
they made a big show of it with the Jalen Rose interview, and the
Yes.
broadcast partners were involved. Like, you just can't do this stuff. It's just so
Right.
silly. So, yeah, I'm expecting something closer to 40. If we're talking 20 to 40 or whatever it is, I would say closer to 40, but I mean, obviously don't know the specifics.
Right. We do know apparently it's dropping as soon as the finals is over. I don't know if they give him like a couple of days. Like, what's the he said it's dropping like a post-credit scene on the finals. There's gonna be a Ja Morant suspension on the horizon, something for us all to look forward to. Well, anyways, Michael, thanks so much for calling in and talking basketball with me. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to you coming on again sometime.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it.